Okay, so today's topic is how we think about and approach identifying potential downsizing or right-sizing baby boomers and empty nesters. And there are two frameworks, two different approaches that we take. And so what I wanted to do is take some time to share how we think about it, and then open it up for anyone who has questions or anyone who has alternative approaches or things that they're doing that's working to help and serve this audience. So today's session is going to be more on how do you identify those opportunities. In other words, folks that aren't already in your existing sphere of influence or database, right? How do we find these new opportunities and the frameworks for that? Next week, we're going to be talking about reverse mortgages, because that plays a role in how we can be most helpful and serve the greatest number of those clients, because some of those opportunities that you uncover, their best option may be to stay in their existing home through a reverse mortgage, or it may be that the home that they're going to downsize or right size into, they can use a reverse mortgage to purchase that one. Okay, so I've got a couple of things. I don't have any slides or anything, but I have a couple of resources that I want to share, and I'm just going to walk through some of that protocol and process. And the two different approaches, the way that I sort of the framework, like the lens that I look at through, is there are two ways of motivation, right? There's the carrot and the stick, or there's moving toward pleasure and moving away from pain. And these two approaches kind of come at this audience, this niche, from both of those angles. And generally speaking, when someone is looking to make a move, they're thinking about selling their existing house and buying a new house. Generally speaking, the more pleasurable of those two steps in that process is the new house that we're going to buy. My wife and I, we've been considering moving for a number of years now, maybe a little bit bigger home, a little bit more land, a little bit closer to the high school that we still have like 10 more years of driving to on a repeated basis because of all of our children. And the exciting or the pleasurable part of that is the home that we would find, right? That we would be transitioning to. The much more painful aspect of that is thinking about packing up this home and selling it, right? Painfully, not just from the work of packing it up, but also painfully from the emotional perspective of, like, we've lived here for over 20 years or about 20 years. All of our, it's the only home our kids have ever known. My wife and I have had a few homes, but this is by far the one that we've been in the longest. It's where our dogs that were our first kids. It's where they spent most of their lives, and now no longer with us. So anyway, point is the carrot and the stick, right? Moving away from pain and moving toward pleasure. So I'm going to start with the moving toward pleasure process that has worked really well for us, and also for a number of other both folks in our organization, but also real estate agents all throughout the country. And it is making an offer, typically on Facebook and Instagram, although this type of offer can also work on Google pay-per-click. It can work on YouTube ads, right? There are lots of different platforms that you can use to make this offer, but it's quite simply offering a list of, in this case, the offer is, we start with a question: looking to downsize your home but not your lifestyle? Get a list of beautiful turnkey homes with a smaller footprint, no stairs, and less maintenance, sent directly to you instantly. And then what happens is, this is a Facebook lead ad, or they now call it instant forms, I think. When someone clicks on this, now I've already opted in, unfortunately. Oh no, I have it. There we go. When someone clicks on this, their information would be pre-populated. Mine isn't, because this is my ad. but their information would be pre-populated. They can click next. And if you set it up correctly, when someone submits their information, a whole bunch of things can happen. In other words, the way we do it is when they submit their information, they go into KV Core as a new lead. They immediately get the thing that they requested, which is this list of homes with a smaller footprint, no stairs and less maintenance, or late maintenance free, one-story homes. And it will kick off a smart campaign that is a combination of calls, texts, and even ringless voicemails. Not only that, but I noticed that we've got my friend Hassan Riggs on here. And so we also, all of those leads also then are getting followed up with by a text-based ISA with Smart Alto. And we can talk about that during the Q&A, but I was just excited to see Hassan on here. All of which is designed, all of those things are designed to do two things primarily. Number one, to make good on the promise that we're making in this ad, right? We're promising them this list of curated homes in the area. So we need to make sure that we get them that thing first and foremost, because, if we don't make good on that, they immediately associate us with every other negative reputation realtor out there. Oh, they're just another one of these folks that all they care about is making the sale kind of thing. And we don't want that. So we need to make good on the offer we're making so they can immediately access that, and we email and text them the information they requested. So first and foremost, we give them the thing that they requested. The rest of our follow-up and also using something like Smart Alto is designed to sift and sort out which of these folks that are requesting this information are most ready, willing, and able to do something now. In other words, trying to identify, how can I help this person? I'm sorry, if I can help this person, how can I help this person and when? Can I help this person? How can I help them and when? It is a service-based approach. It's not a sales-based approach. We're not trying to sell them a home through email or text. It is leading with service to identify, can I help this person? How can I help this person? And when can I help them? Can I, how, and when? Okay. So that's the carrot approach to this. And that's worked great for us in my local production. We have sold a number of homes over the last 18 months from this exact process, and for example, this exact campaign, the actual screenshot of this ad right here, which has 45 engagements, 16 comments, and 4 shares, and this was just one of 4 different similar ones, each of which had anywhere from a couple hundred to 45, 50, 60 leads generated from. So that's the carrot-based approach. Before we switch to the stick, let's say, or the moving away from pain, let's say, are there any questions related to that part of the process? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I
Go
have
ahead.
a question. Thank you. My name is Leah Sanchez. I'm an agent in Washington, D.C. area. So how do you generate that immediate delivery of potential properties that they would want to consider?
Great question. So it depends a little bit on whatever your tech stack is, like what you have access to. How we do it specifically is we use Zapier. Okay. We use Zapier so that when that person submits their information, Zapier automatically sends them into KV Core. And with KV Core, we curate an IDX search result specifically that fit the criteria of those properties. So for example, I'm in central Pennsylvania. We service Cumberland County, Dauphin County, Perry County, York County, and even some of the surrounding areas with my team leads. So we do that in KV Core. We also, so right in this here, when they submit their information, you can tell Facebook a URL to send people to after they've submitted their information. So that's what we send them to there as well, which is an IDX feed from our website of these curated properties that fit the criteria that I'm mentioning here. Smaller footprint, no stairs, and less or no maintenance, low or no maintenance. So how, that would vary depending on the technology you have and the tech stack you have. If you don't have an IDX website or feed, you can certainly do it just with your MLS. You can create an MLS search, a saved search in your MLS, and just send that to them. If you're in DC, you're probably on Bright, and Bright links, saved search links, are dynamic. In other words, they update automatically. They're not static, where they sort of expire kind of thing. And so that's a simple way that everyone here, regardless of whether they have an IDX website or anything like that, could mimic. Does that help? Is that answer
That's
the
great.
question? And if not,
Yes.
I'm happy to. Okay, perfect.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a step-by-step training on how to set this up? So yes, and what we'll do is we'll include that. So the way we do these Monday marketing masterminds is we open them up for anyone to come join us, and then the replays and any associated resources we put into a free members area. And all you have to do is get back to whoever invited you to the session today, whether that's me or whoever else in our organization, and they can give you a link where you can create a free account that, again, you'll get the replay from today's session and any recommended resources, and you get access to all the past sessions. So for example, at the beginning, we talked about our first Monday Marketing Mastermind of the year, talking about a charitable coat drive. Like, you can go back and check that one out once you create the free account or free membership. So you can just get back to whoever invited you, and they will be happy to hook you up. Margarita asks 2 questions. Who does the posting for you? Street Text, ? And who is Zapier? So this campaign was created with Street Text. And you can get a free trial with Street Text at growwithjosh.com/ST. growwithjosh.com/ST. That's a great resource. They have taken what is creating these type of campaigns, what can be very complicated and overwhelming, and made it much easier and straightforward. However, they're not cheap. You're paying for that convenience and ease of use. So the other thing I will throw out is we are actually building these kind of campaigns for our partners, either in our sales organization and or our realtor partners on the mortgage side. So one way or another, we can help you with that. If you want a do-it-yourself way of doing it, I would highly recommend checking out Street Text. They've got a free trial. You can check it out at growwithjosh.com/ST. If you'd like to explore how we can build those out for you, and the different ways we're partnering, get back to whoever invited you, and they'd be happy to point you in the right direction. And then Zapier is, it's just Zapier.com, Zapier.com. And it is a platform. What's the best analogy? It is a connector. Like, it takes 2 different things and connects them together. So for example, you can do all kinds of things with Zapier. You can take people that opt in on an ad like this, and you can zap them into KV Core, or you can zap them onto a Google spreadsheet, or you can use a zap so that every new lead, every person that opts in here, you can use a zap to have it text you to notify you, hey, you've got a new lead that just came through. Here's their name, email, and phone number if you want to follow up with them. You can do all types of things with Zapier. And we've got, I don't even know how many zaps set up at this point. You can create an account for free, but if you're doing any kind of volume, or you're using it, for example, with Facebook lead ads, you do have to upgrade to their pro version, their pro account. but it is extremely useful, and we use it for many different things in our business. All right. Automate manual busy work, 100%, right? That's a great way of thinking about it. Zapier is a tool that you can use to automate manual busy work, right? To do things that we previously either had to do ourselves or pay an assistant or virtual assistant to do, like data entry and data transfer and things of that nature. Zapier makes that easier, faster, and does it automatically. In other words, when someone submits their information, within minutes, that information is zapped into KV Core, it's zapped into Smart Alto, and all of these things happen, whether I'm hanging out with my kids, or I'm working out, or I'm on the Monday Marketing Mastermind with all of you. Like, it ensures that things happen and we make good on promises, whether or not I'm actually available to do anything with that information or that interested party. Okay, let's, what is KV Core? KV Core it's an all-in-one CRM, website, IDX, landing page builder, squeeze page builder, etc. There are others like it, Sierra Interactive for one. There are some that are similar, but not quite as robust, like Sync and Boomtown, even Chime. But that's what that is. It's a CRM. It's an all-in-one website, CRM, IDX, landing page, etc. solution. And it's one of the things, our EXP sales organization, we get access to KV Core, and more brokerages and even teams are using the platform because of how robust it is and the functionality and so forth. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. None of them are, but it's got some pretty great functionality built in. Okay. Now, let's pivot to the stick. Okay. And this isn't the perfect analogy, but hopefully you get the point, right? So in this scenario, we're using the carrot to get them interested and excited about what their new home might be. And for some in this audience, that may even be a painful proposition as well, right? Thinking about the fact that they need to downsize or right size. It might be, there might be some pain, some emotional pain associated with that. But generally speaking, it's more pleasurable than the side of needing to sell, okay? So the way we approach, generating their interest from the perspective of, I'm thinking about selling, is as follows. We use a platform like PropStream, and there are other versions of this, Property Radar, Remine, etc. I've been using PropStream for a while. I like it. You can layer filters. Again, is it perfect? No, but it's what we've been using and like as well. What I would tell you is use whatever you've got if you can't afford to try something out like this. Now, you can try it. They offer a free trial as well. growwithjosh.com/PS for PropStream. growwithjosh.com/PS. They offer a free 7 or 14-day trial. I can't even remember. But you can play around with it and see, what some of the numbers come back for you. Or like I said, if you have access to something else, like for example, we get Remine as part of our Bright fees. And so that's another great platform. You just need some way to filter down a targeted audience. We're trying to find a targeted audience of people, a niche of people. So there are lots of different ways that you can use this. Here's what I'm going to do. Actually, I forgot about another win. This is a perfect way for me to tie in another win. Saturday night, I'm watching the Eagles game. Go Birds. That was an impressive win. And I got a text message from a guy that I've kind of known for a number of years. His daughter played basketball with my oldest daughter years ago, and she's a year older than my daughter, so we kind of run into each other sometimes. But they play in different leagues and stuff, because when they're younger, it's like, this is the 5th grade league. Anyway. He texts me, hey, my wife and I have been thinking about buying a new home. I saw some of your video contents. I see you around, blah, blah, blah. Can you help us out? Of course I can, whatever. We scheduled a time. We chatted yesterday for, I don't know, a half an hour, let's say, while I was running kids around. The reason why I share that story is they have a very specific type of property that they're looking for. And so I'm going to use that lens as a way to filter down and identify properties that may have folks that are thinking about downsizing that also fit these buyer criteria. Why am I doing that? Because then I can reach out to these people and say, I've got clients, Eric, and I can't remember his wife's name, who are looking to buy a home like yours. Have you had any thoughts of selling anytime soon? Let me know, thanks, right? I can make that very direct offer. And we'll talk about direct offer versus indirect offer. But let's first find the audience. So with PropStream, I can search by zip code. I can search by a city or town. I can search by an entire county, or I can even draw. I can even just, I can just draw on the map here the geographic target area that I want to target. Okay, but I'm gonna go with the zip code here to start with, and then I'm going to do some filtering here to find our target audience. So I'm going to go filter. First and foremost, I'm going to choose MLS status no for not on the market, because we don't want to solicit properties that are already on the market for obvious reasons. Next thing I'm going to do is property characteristics. I'm going to choose single family. And I'm going to choose 2 stories. Why am I choosing that? Because as people get older, they are less likely to want stairs. Okay, my in-laws live down the street, and they'll probably continue to live down the street because they like being close to us. But if they are to move, or when they are to move, they're going to buy a single-story home, right? They've got a 2-story home. They don't like the stairs. Okay. So we're going to choose stairs, and then very simply, we're going to choose ownership info. I'm just going to say they've owned for 15 years or more. So they've owned the property for 15 years or more. So I've got 1,208 properties that fit that criteria. They're in the specific zip code. They are not on the market. They are 2-story, and they have owners that have owned the property, the home, for at least 15 years. Oh, no, I don't. I have 2,952. Even better. Even better. I've got an even larger audience. So the next steps that we follow in our framework are, number 1, we have to skip trace this list so we can append email and phone number. So we have multiple channels that we can follow up with them. Okay, so that's the next step. After we have that list, now we've got 2,952. We have their name, we have the property address, we have their mailing address if it's a different address than the property address, we have their email, and we have their phone number. The next thing we will most often do is use artificial intelligence, for example, likely.ai. Okay, likely.ai. You can get a free account with likely.ai at growwithjosh.com/likely. Growwithjosh.com/likely. I can then take that list, upload it to likely.ai, and they will use artificial intelligence and over 250 algorithmic data points to identify which of these 2,952 are the very most likely to sell in the next 6 to 9 months. Why is that valuable and important? Because now I've got a more targeted audience, a narrow audience that I can go deeper with, right? Instead of going very wide and blanketing these 2,952 with multiple emails, phone calls, text messages, and direct mail pieces, I've got a much smaller, more targeted audience of folks that are more likely to sell. Now, there are still some things that we're going to do with this total addressable audience. For example, we're going to upload them as a custom audience on Facebook and Instagram and show them an ad that looks like this. Okay, so we're taking an audience that might want to downsize and we're putting that offer in front of them, right? Why? Well, because although this artificial intelligence and this algorithmic data is cool and useful, it's also not foolproof, right? It doesn't take into account that, someone in this audience may have fallen down the stairs and broke their ankle yesterday. And now they're thinking, you know what? I'm pretty sick of these stairs. It's time for us to find a home that doesn't have any more stairs, right? So we use the data in both ways, but the smaller, more targeted audience, we can go a lot deeper with. We can follow up multi-channel with them. We can send them multiple direct mail pieces, both direct offers and indirect offers. And we can use all of those things to give us the greatest chance to have an opportunity to help and serve them if or when the time comes. And that helping and serving may be introducing them to a reverse mortgage, which we're going to talk about on next week's Monday Marketing Mastermind. Or it may be helping them find another option locally, or it may be helping them find and connect with a great real estate agent in Florida or in, I don't know, Missouri or wherever they might be looking to downsize or right size to. But first and foremost, we have to do something to open up the opportunity for us to build a relationship with them so we can determine, can I help this person, how and when? Can I help this person, how and when? Okay. And so with that more targeted, those more likely sellers, we then will send them multiple direct mail pieces. We will get them set up on email, and we will, depending on the situation, we will call or text them. When you are skip tracing data, you want to know the information. You want to know which of those folks are on the do not call list, right? And one of the reasons why I like PropStream is when you skip trace data, it will tell you these numbers are on the do not call list, and we avoid those. We don't want to hit those people up, but we will email them and direct mail them. Okay. Another way that we're identifying the likely sellers in the audience is through something called My Home IQ, which is something we've started to use and made available to our realtor partners on the mortgage side. And they use similar algorithmic data to identify likely sellers. And they score them on a scale of 0 to 9. So if I want to pull up just my database here and look at which are the most likely to sell here, and I want to sort them by their pre-mover score, I can pull up now. Once it loads, you can see here these are, and it goes from 9 down to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, etc. So you can think what you want about this artificial intelligence and algorithmic data, and on some level it can be a little bit scary, but we're not using it for any nefarious means or evil schemes. We're just trying to use it to find out who can we help and serve. So that's our two-pronged approach. I want to open it up for two things. Number one, questions, and number two, for others here to share their best practices and how they're, going about helping and serving this audience. And open it up for the mastermind effect at this point. And let you all know that when you get back to whoever invited you for the replay, you will also get more detailed instructions on those two processes. I didn't want to make this, although some of you probably, your eyes may have glazed over at times today. I didn't want to make it too technical. I just wanted to give you a kind of an overview, big picture of that. The likely link is growwithjosh.com/likely. Okay. And since I'm bringing that up, the first thing you should all do if you get a free account with Likely is take your existing database and do what they call a database refresh. And you can import your database in there, and it will take your existing database and let you know which of those people are most likely to sell in the next 6 to 12 months, which gives you a targeted audience of people that you can just reach out to and not, awkwardly say, hey, according to algorithmic data and artificial intelligence, it looks like you might sell your home this year. No, you're just going to say, hey, it's Josh. We haven't chatted in a while. I just wanted to check in. How's 2023 treating you? Just following up and reaching out. Or maybe like I described, maybe you've got a client like Eric who's looking to buy a home like theirs. Hey, it's Josh. I'm just reaching out to check in, see how things are going. Also, I'm curious, have you heard any rumors about anybody in your neighborhood thinking about selling? Because I've got a client that's looking, there's not a whole lot of inventory, and your neighborhood is one of the ones that they've said they would have some interest in. So, okay, questions, and then feel free. I think we have a couple of folks that have raised their hand. I'm going to call on those in a minute. Can you do the same with Remind? And Brian, thank you for answering. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. You can do some of the same things, and maybe depending on how much time we have for Q&A, I can even open up Remind and show some of the different things. Ray says, I've been running a similar ad. I have approximately 90 leads in 5 months. I've tried to communicate, but have not one conversion yet. So Ray, I know you have your hand raised. We're not having that issue. So there's something about what you're doing or not doing maybe is causing that disconnect. So go ahead. If you want to open your line, I'm happy to sort of brainstorm and mastermind around that.
Yeah. Hey, Josh.
All right.
Hey, good morning, all. Yeah, so my niche actually is the downsizing segment, and I'm from Brampton, Canada. And what I've basically done, I've run the same ad as you have. I'm actually for the ad's a Facebook ad. Get the list of bungalows in Peel region, the region that I'm in. So like I say, I've got about 90, and what I do automatically, I have them set up through KV Core as well. So they get the list. And then there's like a 3-day sequential period. Right after that, I send them my downsizing guide. And then I send them on a monthly basis, basically saying, this is what the service that I also offer to my clients. I send them a monthly update on market stats as well.
Okay.
So that's it. You know what? I've attempted calling, texting, but I get no response whatsoever back from these people.
And you have 90?
There's been 90 over the 5 months, yes.
You've gotten no replies to email, call, or text?
Funny as that should be, I just got one while we were on this call. And they basically said that I'm looking for a bungalow in this region, a new build within the next 2 years. So.
Are you sending them an updated list of these properties every week or twice a week?
No.
Okay, so that would be first and foremost. I would set them all up on search alerts based upon whatever criteria you're initially delivering to them. They should be getting, I would set up a search alert for all of them. And you can do this retroactively. In other words, you can make it so that you create a hashtag that delivers a search alert, and then you can go back and hashtag all of those people, and that will kick off a search alert, which if you need help with that, just email mike@growwithjosh.com and he can show you how to do that. And Mike, we may have to, maybe let's make a note to add that to the replay of this. That's a little bit more technical, and it's only applicable to folks that have KV Core. But that would be first and foremost. So the easiest, simplest, long-term follow-up strategy for folks like this is to just keep sending them the thing they originally wanted, either weekly or twice a week. That would be number one. Why is that important? Because number one, people we like looking at listings, right? We like looking at properties, so that will keep them engaged. Number two, what you'll get is people that will respond and say, hey, thanks for sending me these. It's not really what I'm looking for. Really what we're looking for is X or Y or Z. And that's good, right? Because then you can tweak that to fit the criteria they're specifically looking for, whether it's price range or size or whatever. So that's the simplest, lowest hanging fruit. Two, I think you said you send a monthly email. I would highly recommend, not just for this part of your database, but for your entire database, you do our weekly email protocol, our weekly email newsletter every Friday morning. And we'll add that to the replay here. Mike, maybe if you can grab that document and put that in the chat, that has that process. And the way that is designed gets prospects re-engaging, and there are a bunch of sort of behavioral triggers that are built into that, which then will fill in your case, your KV Core dashboard with people that are back searching at looking at properties, or favoriting listings, or requesting showings, or checking their home value, things of that nature. I will say that all of that said, I find it somewhat remarkable that you haven't gotten more response. I can tell you, like from ours, we get anywhere, and Hassan, I may put you on, if Hassan's still here, I may put him on the spot here in a minute as well. But we get, I would say, more than half of ours engage in some form or fashion, meaning that we can see that they're looking at listings, or they respond to a text or email. So the other variable in that is, and I don't want to do this here, but I'd be happy to do this for you after the fact, is look at what that initial sequence looks like. Like, what is the path you take them on over those first 3 days? Because there may be some things in there that we could tweak. And there may also be one other thing. There may also be some things that we need to look at with your email deliverability. Maybe they're not getting your emails, or they're not showing up in their primary inbox. And there are some simple things that we can do to proactively address that, which, by the way, are mentioned. Those strategies are mentioned in the document that Mike just posted in the chat in our weekly email. There are like email deliverability troubleshooting steps in there.
Yep. Josh, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
Out of those 90, I've noticed, because I've done some analytics, and through KV Core, you can see the open rate, or those that do open the emails. And I noticed that 28 of the 90 are actively opening the emails, constantly opening all the emails that are sent to them. No response back, but they are opening them. So,
well, that's a big plus. That's a huge positive. And I would also say that, so you said over the last 5 months, and what we know is, especially in cold markets, is that's a time when people are more dormant when it comes to buying or selling. And so it may be a case where I'm seeing that image. We've all seen the meme where, like, it's the two people that are digging towards gold, right? And the one gives up, and he's 3 feet from the gold,
right?
And the one just keeps going and eventually breaks through. So it may be a case where you'll start to see, if you do some of the things that we talked about, and just as we get into a spring and early summer market, you'll start to see more of that activity and more people engaging, more people requesting information. That's not always like an exciting answer, but that is reality, is that, in colder markets, people are looking and they're active, but, unless it's like the perfect scenario, they may not get serious about doing something until it starts to warm up and, whatever, the spring market hits, kind of thing. So
thanks, Josh.
I would highly recommend the search alerts, getting them set up on search alerts. I would highly recommend at least checking out the weekly email newsletter strategy. And then I'd be happy to take a look at that initial smart campaign to see if there's any maybe low-hanging fruit of things that we could tweak to maybe get some more initial engagement. And then I would highly recommend for anyone on here, schedule a demo with Smart Alto. And I'm putting the link there. That is the ISA, the text-based ISA platform that I use and recommend. And their goal is, or their function is to get calls on your calendar. They schedule phone appointments on your calendar, and they do so in a way that isn't overly salesy or anything like that. It's not pushy or aggressive or anything like that. It's a service-based approach. And, depending on how many leads we generated in a given month, we get anywhere from, 8, 10, 15 phone appointments to sometimes 20 or 30 phone appointments just from what they do. Now you've got to have the lead flow for them to work, or the existing, lead database for them to work. Without that, nothing really will happen. But if you've got that, for me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, it's a prerequisite to it's an integral part. For me, it's a cost of doing business. Like, it's just part of the deal. Ryan, how much is likely? So it's free. And you can play around with it for free. What you pay for is if you want to export the likely sellers. Okay. And I can't remember exactly, like, it's the minimum fee, I believe, is $85. And it's like $1.25 per likely seller. So for example, that list of 2952, let's say from that list, there was 150 likely sellers. Then it would be, you'd pay around $85 to $100 to export that data. It'll tell you how many are likely, but for you to get the name, which ones are the most likely, you pay for it. Rosemary, unless something changed, I don't think maybe you're looking at, they do have some paid subscriptions, but that's not the database refresh. Hold on, let me share my screen here. The database refresh, there is not a subscription. And the link to that is growwithjosh.com/likely. I'll put that in the chat again. While I'm pulling that up, other questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas? Let me see here. I will be honest, I haven't been using this as much because we've been using My Home IQ more for this, but where do I log in? But the thing I like, there are a lot of things I like about this. The biggest one is you can play around with it for free, at least from where's the client login? There it is. Now the data, I will say that there are some areas or some data sources that sometimes they're not able to pull good information, but I would say that is far and away the exception more than the rule. In other words, more often than not, they're able to get you good data. But again, there are some exceptions. And so, for example, this would pull up for me here. My past ones. Maybe my dashboard. That's what I need. Maybe not. Hold on here. Well, for some reason, it doesn't want to come up for me. But I had one of the cold audiences I had uploaded here was a list of luxury homes, and it was an audience of like 4,600 from PropStream, like we did here, and it identified like 196 of the most likely, and so we put them on a follow-up protocol for that. How good is the data from PropStream for skip tracing? They get it from the premium skip trace data provider. What I've heard and found from other users is in some markets, in some areas, the data is better than others. But that seems to be pretty universal as far as skip tracing data goes. In other words, like, I don't know. I don't know how to perfectly answer that, Ryan, because there's no like perfect way to like match it up, at least that I'm aware of. So what I would recommend is you can start with a small a small test audience and see how the data stacks up for you. All right, several people were kind of excited about Remind. Let me pull it up real quick, and then I'll show a simple way that you can filter similar to with PropStream. And while I'm doing that, if anyone else has questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, feel free to open your line. Pretty good data to get emails and phone numbers. Yes. I mean, again, from my experience, yeah, the data is pretty good. It'll get you data that you can work with and do numerous things with. For example, a custom audience on Facebook and Instagram, and sending out, launching an email campaign to them. And, even if you want to, I'm not suggesting, because some markets, some states, there's legality issues with this, but you can send them ringless voicemails, or even potentially text them. That part, again, I would be careful. I'm not an attorney, and I don't play one on Zoom. All right, I've almost got Remind loaded up here. Okay, so here's Remind, and let's say I wanted to do a similar search to what I had done with PropStream. So I would go to the search function, and there are some things with Remind that you can do differently. They may not be better or worse, but there are some things you can do differently. So for example, I need to clear all my filters. For example, you can search by a specific, like, elementary school, or I don't know if you can search by a whole school district, but there are some different geographic search functions that you can do. But I just want to do sort of an apples to apples search here. So I'm going to choose 17050, which was the same zip code that we had chosen before. And then I'm going to choose this advanced search functionality. And by the way I figured this stuff out is just by trial and error, like just doing it. So I'm going to choose off market, because I don't want properties that are listed. I'm going to choose building type single family. I'm going to choose, I can't remember, one of the limitations may be that we can't, oh no, we can choose number of floors, 2. And let's say that we do 15 to 20 years or 20 plus years. So I've got 2717. Similar. Not exactly the same. Who knows which is better, but either way, a pretty good audience. One cool additional thing is Remind does have a cell score. So it's got some of this artificial intelligence and algorithmic data built in. So if I want to just do that right in here, I can go medium, high cell score. And now I've got 378, much more targeted list. In fact, I'm going to choose list results. And I'm going to, let me see here. I got to think through how to do this. I'm going to select all. I think I'm selecting all. I'm going to choose cart. I'm going to say 17050, 2-story, owned, 15, high, or I'll go medium high. I'm going to add that to the cart. And then if I want to export this data, I've got to add it to a cart. And then, let's see here. Then I got to go to the cart. I've got it selected because it's the most recent one. I select all, and I can export the data. And I can name it the same thing, 17050, 2-story, own 15, and medium high. And I can export that data, and then I can do other things. And some of that data, some of these results will actually have contact information. Not all of them, but some of them will have email and phone number and whether or not they're on the do not call list. So if you have access to Remind, you may already be paying for it in some form or fashion. That's a great place to start to play around with some of these strategies. Let's see if they have. So contact information, there is a Gmail address and 2 phone numbers that are on the do not call list. So interesting nonetheless. Let's see here. Does Remind skip trace? So it does, like, it will give you some, but if you skip trace, you're going to get more data. In other words, if you pay for that, you're going to get more data. Likely also has a skip trace functionality. There are lots of different places that you can get that skip trace data. If you want to append more data to those audiences. Will this Zoom be in our Monday meeting area? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean, Alana. Sorry. Who do you prefer, Prop or Remind? So it's splitting hairs, honestly. PropStream has more filtering options, but it doesn't have the built-in cell score. However, I've compared cell scores versus the likely data, and they don't seem to match. So I don't know if they're pulling different data. Here's what I would recommend. Do something, right? Start with a logical plan and get to work, and you're going to uncover opportunity. Oh, the recording. Yes, I'm sorry. So every week that we have these sessions, we add them to the free members area that if you don't have access, just get back to whoever invited you. They will give you a link. You can create a free member account, and all of the replays of these sessions, as well as the additional resources, etc., are put in there as available. Other questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas from the group? Okay, well,
I have a quick question, if that's
yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
So I remember one time trying to use PropStream on an address list I already had, and they were saying you can't do that. You have to pull like the addresses from their search functionality. So do you have a better resource for if I have an Excel spreadsheet with addresses and I want their phone numbers and emails? Or was the person I talked to wrong?
I think the person that you talked to was wrong. It may be the way you had formatted the data, because unless they changed something, it's been a while since we've done this, but we have done that with PropStream where we've imported. So here, a perfect example. We've done it where we've exported data from Remind, formatted the spreadsheet the way PropStream requires it be formatted, imported it into PropStream, and then skip traced the data in PropStream. So unless they change something, it is possible. However, there are other ways of doing it. For example, Likely.ai offers a skip trace functionality as well.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, it's slightly more expensive, but we're talking about, like a penny or two. So we're not talking about huge dollar amounts. Another great resource is datazap.com, ZAPP.com, but that one is more expensive. They have like certain minimums, and that can get a little bit pricey depending on the size of the number of records that you're skip tracing, right? So if you're skip tracing 3,000, then DataZap may be the best one to do, quite honestly. But if you're doing smaller batches, it's not the best because of their minimum costs or their minimum charges. And a resource, this isn't what you were asking, but just because it came up, a resource, if you're trying to do manual skip tracing for like 3 properties, truepeoplesearch.com is a great free resource where you can do a reverse phone lookup. You can do a reverse address lookup. So you know the address of a property. You see a property, you're out and about, right? And you see a property that clearly, like, it looks like it's vacant or, something's going on there. You can do a reverse address and find their information there. Or if for example, this is a great resource that we've used to append data for people in our sphere of influence, right? There are people like that you meet that okay, I know this person's name. I know that they live in Mechanicsburg, but I don't know their exact address. You can go and put their name and Mechanicsburg and then find their address, their email, their phone number. And it's just called truepeoplesearch.com. It's free. There are other similar ones. Truepeoplesearch.com is just the one that I've used, I've found and used most frequently.
Okay. And then one other quick follow-up question. Is there, out of all those you've mentioned, is one better for commercial properties specifically?
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend that I know.
No worries. No worries. Thank you. Thanks so much for the info.
I would say, yeah, I don't want to say I know for sure, but Data Zap may be the best one. It's just that it's going to be more costly if it's a small audience.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So like anything in life, or like many things in life, the answer is it kind of depends. But I don't have a ton of experience of skip tracing commercial properties. So I don't want to say with certainty one way or the other.
Okay. Thank you so much for the options.
You bet. Okay. Some housekeeping items, because we're at the top of the hour. I want to respect everyone's time. Number one, if you want once again, if you want the replay, the recording of this, the additional resources, etc., get back to whoever invited you. They'll give you a link where you can create a free account to the members area for the recordings of these sessions. Number two, tomorrow morning, every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, I do something called Texting Tuesday. That is live streamed on my YouTube channel and on Facebook and on LinkedIn. And I would highly recommend you check that out. And that one in particular it's simple scripts and templates that you can use immediately to create some conversation opportunities for you and your business. For my organization, we have our big group coaching at 12:30 Eastern tomorrow in our private team suite in the EXP world. Then we have our coaching huddles Wednesday at 11 and Thursday at 11 Eastern. Same link, growwithjosh.com/huddle. I may need some help for Wednesdays. I think I have to get part one of a crown on my tooth. So I think I will be missing Wednesdays. And then we've got Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, Pat Hayes' Freedom Friday, and 11 a.m. Eastern, Larry White's Wealth Building Mastermind. Next week's Monday Marketing Mastermind, we're going to be talking about reverse mortgages, which layers or pairs very nicely with this session. It gives you more ways that you can help and serve this audience, this niche, etc. And if you are, we are now in 13 states with our mortgage team. So if you want to chat about what we're doing on that side of things and how we're partnering with realtors, reach out, and happy to get you more information. We're in Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Ohio, Tennessee, Colorado, California, Kentucky, Kansas, and Oklahoma. That might be 14. I may have lost track. But let us know on that. Happy to chat and get you more information. And Debbie points out that the national do not call does not apply to business phone and fax numbers. That's a good shout. It's a good shout. All right. Thanks, everybody. And Ray and several folks mentioned about saying nice things about Texting Tuesdays. Yeah, I think they're pretty good. And selfishly, I like to do it because it generates conversations for us, right? It generates client opportunities for us. And it's just a matter of showing everybody what we're doing. Have a great week, all. If you need anything, let us know. Get back to whoever invited you for recording, replay, etc., and make it a great week.